Okay, this will be part 2, I hope. I think we'll just start by getting everything cleaned up. Let's kind of get these ready to get blasted up. I'm going to just knock some bearings out, I think, and rip some of these other grimy parts off. Alright, I have them stripped far enough where I think I'm ready to dry blast them. There's a few studs I left in, like the oil pump ones and stuff. I'll probably pull those later, but for now, I've got most everything out of the way just so I can tumble it around in my dry blaster. That took way too long. I really get frustrated when people paint their cases black because it just adds that much more time for me to blast. Well, these are my cases, so I guess the time doesn't matter, but it's still annoying. So I'm happy with how clean they've gotten so far. I still have more to do, but I want to get the other side caught up so I can bolt them together and then start doing some matching. I really like to case match my stuff, so all the transitions from one side to the other all line up. I hate when it's mismatched. We will have to address this. I don't know what I want to do yet. Obviously welding would be the first option, but any of you who've welded this cast aluminum, this stuff is junk. This British aluminum is dirty, and obviously this was laying in dirt and got very corroded. So I can only imagine how filthy that is at this point. So I'll see. I'll talk to my brother and see what he wants to do. He's my welder, so if he's down for fixing it, otherwise we might get creative and come up with some other quick fix, something aesthetic, since this isn't really a structural issue. But now this side needs to be blasted. And then also, once I blast this up, I'll show you how I weld that inner race, or the outer race, and then knock it out. Quick blast done on the cases. They're not pretty by any means, but like I said, I'm just doing it so I can start working with them and just double check to make sure there's no surprises. I did lie to you. I said I was going to show you how I removed these outer races, but all you're going to do is just put a couple welds in to, one, heat up and shrink the race itself, and then give you something to kind of beat against. So when you're looking at it, from this side, you can get a punch in there and catch on those welds, and then it should just kind of drive out nicely. So just work your way back and forth, side to side with the welds. But that's the trick for it. I know a lot of other guys will just put it in the oven and then bash it on the table. Whatever. I don't like doing that. But if you can do it without damaging anything, whatever's fine. But I just like to really quick throw it. But I did a bunch of them, and so I just did mine with it and didn't film it. So I apologize. But anyway, I wanted to kind of go over a few things. We already talked about the water damage up here, the mud damage. But notorious cover bolts blasted out. People put too much silicone, or there's dirt or whatever it is, and then they drive their hardware in and just power right through it, and it blows these out. So I get really frustrated with it. There's one there, I think there's one more. Thought there was another spot, but anyway, it annoys me. I have to deal with that a lot. Oh yeah, that one. That's the other one. That one's blown out too. So we'll see. I mean, the threads are good, which is surprising, because normally, you just throw a helicoil or a time stud in there or something. But I don't know what I'm gonna do. I've welded them up before, but the bolt is only gonna do so much, past that anyway. So with having majority of the threads still there, I may just leave them. I don't know. I'm trying to weigh out how much time I spend on everything, and that's not that critical. So overall, the cases do look nice. So just a little bit of a lip there. This front section looks pretty good, other than just a little bit on the front there. So I won't really spend too much time. I'll probably take this flashing off here and the one that runs down along there. As far as fixing this damage, I keep going back and forth. I can't decide. It's not going to be easy to weld. Even if we do get it welded up, the filler metal isn't going to match. Even if we try and use chunks of cast as filler metal, you can still always see it. So it's like, do I draw attention to it with a repair and have, a spot, or just ignore it and leave it? It's on the bottom side of the engine. No one's going to see it. It's more go than show is my goal. So if this is on the top, I would be a little bit more worried about it, but it's down here. I can't bring myself to bother with it. So we're just going to keep going. If I really, really decide I can't stand it, I'll go ahead and repair it right before, but I just can't imagine it's worth it. I want to finish this video out with getting the inner transition cover prepped, and I don't know if I'm going to use this one or I have another one I might use, but I want to get all of those parts ready, and then I need to figure out my timing cover, and I need to figure out a primary cover, so then that way I can start rolling this thing around and all the gasket surfaces can get matched to each other, which is a large investment of time for something silly, but I just do enough of these for other people that I have a desire to make it, as aesthetically pleasing as possible. Minus this, we'll ignore the fact that I just admitted that I'm gonna leave it, but whatever. Don't hold everything I say too close. This needs to come out before, obviously, it can come out at whatever point, but I'm probably going to end up blasting all this before I try digging this thing out, because I need all that shit removed from around the bronze body and everything, because if I try and drag it out now, it's just going to be a mess. It's going to gall everything up. Plus, I got to be able to get that rusty screw out of there, so I'll blast it and then we'll tackle this. It's going to fill it full of grime and stuff, but it's fine. We'll get it cleaned out. But I'm going to set this to the side, then we'll knock out the bearings. But let's get this ripped apart real quick. Check it out. Only half of it's left. I don't know if you can see that. There's all the little coils. Obviously, it's just... I have to get the hammer out. Spring stuff on it. There we go. We'll get the hammer to finish it. Okay, I got that pressed out. Now, when you're removing this, there's just the 2 flat blade screws. Sometimes they want to just cut. Yep, that one came loose. Alright, that's lucky. Sometimes I really struggle. That's why I had the hammer impact at the ready. We'll get this out. I'm going to knock off as much as I can, less stuff to clog the blaster nozzle, but I don't know where it is, but somewhere I have one that's been like trimmed to match that line. So like on the front it comes around and it's kind of got like a 90 in it, but it must be at home. I thought it was here. Anyway, I've got this one, I've got this one, I've got this timing cover, I got this priming cover. I think they're in good shape. It's got all 3 lugs, it's got the timing pin still. I like the one with the window in it. But there's no like major gouges or anything, so I think this might be the primary cover we matched to it. But anyway, the next step will be getting this inner trans cover ready. I'll blast it. I want to pretty much like bolt together the bottom end of the engine as far as like covers and everything. One of you guys might have caught that way before I did. I don't know how I missed it, but check that out. Can you see? Hold on, there. Can you see all that weld? I don't know how I missed that, but from here to here must have broke off. But look, oh my god, that is so gnarly. So yeah, not gonna run this cover. I'm just gonna throw it. This cover is junk, it's scrap, so I have a couple others. I'm gonna go dig those out. Well, we're back on the ground again. Everything's blasted. I found that cut down cover, so I'm going to probably run it. I think it just would be kind of neat to really simplify this thing. At the same time, I'm going over the top with a lot of it, but you know what I mean. Now, I will have to cut this little tab section there off, so that way it kind of flows all together. So I'll probably pull those two off together and match them up. But I also will have to go back and put the primary, but I think I'm going to work on this side first and maybe some other parts of the cases, then come over and do that edge where the primary cover will line up with. But for now, while I'm rolling it around, I'm just going to leave it off and then kind of finish up with that, maybe even put it in the vise. But for right now, I'm just going to roll it around on the ground. It's a little bit better. That way I'm kind of keeping all the filings and everything low. Okay, I'm going to get a proper outro on this video because it seems like I never really do that. I'm going to be done for right now. We'll close out this one. I'm far from done with these cases, but I got a pretty good start on it, made a huge mess, so I got to call it. I'm running out of time. I need to get back to work on customer stuff, but obviously there's tons of grinding marks, but all these gasket surfaces, where everything meets up, is mostly matched. I'm going to use like a file in between those two. I use like a big grinder and some die grinders and all that kind of stuff to really rough it out. But once I get everything where I like it and kind of level it all, then I'm going to go back with a needle scaler and texture it again, so that way you can't really tell it was done, which sounds ridiculous because of all the work I just did. But I also got all of that kind of shaped. You can see down in between there, but like I said, I'm going to have to spend a lot more time finishing it all out. The grinding marks look pretty rough right now, probably especially under this light with the camera and everything, but I'm happy with it. It's going to look kind of silly, cartoonish when it's all done, just because everything's going to have such a smooth, soft edge, but it's all in fun. Also, if anybody has made it this far into the video, I do want to make sure I'm being straightforward with, this is not going to be like a record-setting engine. Like, I'm not trying to build something that's going to be the fastest twin or the most powerful, or I'm not making any type of power claims at all, but the goal with this thing is just to have fun. That's why I'm spending a lot of time on visual finish on it, as well as the time we'll spend on the internals and everything. But yeah, it's not a race bike. It's gonna be just for the street, just for fun. Honestly, I'm probably gonna upset some people with whatever frame I end up putting it in, but that will be for later. Yeah, so anyway, here's a bunch of silly time spent that didn't need to be.